Hello, everyone. This is LAMO, and this is the newest episode of the Listen to My Opinion podcast. It's been about a month since I released my last episode, and I apologize for that. I was wanting to do it more frequently, but I had a couple of opportunities pop up, real-life opportunities, and I did those, and now I'm back here. And I was going to order a mic stand and a pop filter, and I did, and I convinced myself to procrastinate the podcast until they came in, and they came in last night. I set it all up, and here I am recording myself again. So I appreciate you for tuning back in, and once again I apologize for the long wait in between podcast episodes. I'm going to try to make it more frequent for sure, but I think the most relevant thing that we can talk about now, Stipe versus Ngannou part 2. Tragedy. It's a tragic story in theaters now. You can go watch it. You can watch a hardworking firefighter get absolutely blown up by the UFC's lab experiment that they flew out from another country, handpicked to beat Stipe. And that's what happens. See, the thing with Francis is that he's so tremendously talented that he can learn a baseline of MMA and be tremendously effective. He's still not the most technical fighter in the division, and I don't think he ever will be. But the fact that he went from straight boxer with a little bit of counter defensive wrestling to a boxer that can kick sometimes, that actually knows how to use a whizzer and stuff the head, he has transformed minimally, but that's all he needed in the first place. As soon as I saw Francis open up with body shots, like a straight to the body, I was like, oh, damn, fuck. He is not allowed to be technically proficient because he has the chin of a god and the power of a god, and it's not fair. So if he starts getting better and starts going to the body more, starts kicking more, kicking after punches, it's just game over. It's game over until he decides to quit. And that's all talent. I still don't think that he's the best technical fighter in the division, but goddamn, he's the most effective fighter in the division. He just is. Fighting's not all about technique. So I'm not trying to shit on Ngannou or anything. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say that I think that he got marginally better. He knows a baseline of MMA now. He has first layer takedown defense. He knows what to do on the initial takedown attempt, and that's enough for him because he didn't know that before. He fought Anthony Hamilton. He went straight down, but he was able to throw him off of him because he's a superhero. But he can't do that to Stipe, so he got controlled the first time. And now he knows, hey, when someone goes for a single leg, get a whizzer, stuff the head, boom. He's got a baseline of knowledge, and that's genuinely all he needs. And to brag on Ngannou just a little bit, I really liked his double jab setup and his body attack. I thought that those were good things. They were really impressive to see in real time, and he is so quick for such a big, massive guy. If he keeps using double jab setups and keeps going to the body, I really can't pick anyone to beat this guy. I just can't do it. And what Stipe did in the fight, there's really not a whole lot to talk about. It's kind of sad. The fight was one-sided. And don't get me wrong, I understand Stipe's method of making the first round very conservative, see if Francis will commit a lot and, use your defense and be safe. And that way you can start to take over the later rounds. I get that, but the problem is that when you don't do anything at all and then you get finished the next round, there's no point we can say that Stipe was winning that fight or Stipe was finding success. In fact, the only true major success that Stipe found was in the second round whenever he countered Francis and then just immediately got knocked out afterwards. Which is pretty funny. It's the same exact mistake that he made in the first round of the first Francis fight whenever he hit him a couple of times with straight punches and had Francis on the back foot, and he chased him, and Francis threw like a hook uppercut hybrid off his foot, his feet weren't planted on the ground, threw it, and it rocked Stipe's head back massively. I think if you're listening to this, certain people are going to know what I'm talking about. It was a massive shot from the first fight, and it's as Francis is moving backwards, so it doesn't have as much as it could. But this time, Stipe gets a counter punch and presses forward like he did in the first fight, but Francis plants his feet and catches him with the check hook. And what can you do? If Francis Ngannou hits you on the chin, you're gonna die. Which reminds me, whenever I was rewatching the fight, I rewatched it like 3 times, and I did notice that Francis does have a nasty check hook now. He caught Stipe with it repeatedly, and Stipe is someone that we consider to have some of the best boxing fundamentals in MMA, or at least heavyweight MMA, as he's definitely not as good as like a Jose Aldo or something, but we consider Stipe to be like the cream of the crop for boxing in heavier weights, right? Like, I feel like that's the general consensus on his skill set, and it's well deserved. He knows how to pivot, and he has good defense. He knows how to weave and check hook off of that and stuff like that. But Francis really just punished him with a check hook every single time he tried to have an entry. Like, I think he got caught with the check hook twice. Like, once, then he got caught with that shovel uppercut, like through his guard that dropped him. The first time he stood back up, got check hooked again, and he was dead, right? So I have to give Francis props for doing that. I mean, Stipe's got some of the best boxing in the division by far, and he punished the boxing with one of the most rudimentary tools ever. But all in all, the thing that makes Francis not fair is his chin. I just don't see how someone can have a chin like that while also being like insanely powerful. It's not fair, dude. It's not fair. I don't know any heavyweights that could take that counter. Like, go back and watch the slow motion of Stipe getting knocked out and watch the counter punch he lands that encourages him to go back into the pocket with his hands down. No less. But watch that counter he lands on Francis, and Francis like stumbles backwards because that's what humans do when they get hit by Stipe Miocic. But he's totally fine. He's still there. He's totally fine. I think that like everyone's getting knocked out by that besides Francis. And then no one else is going to be able to put Miocic out like that from a check hook off of it. But yeah, sadness overwhelmed the night. It sucks to see Stipe lose like that. But, you know, I'm not delusional. It's cool to have a champion that's like Francis Ngannou. He's one of the craziest fighters I've ever seen. I'm hesitant to call him one of the best. I need to see more out of him. But if he gets better, he might be one of the best ever. It's not like, I know that people want to like stop me from saying that because, you know, his technical game might not be on the level, but no heavyweight's technical game is on the level of like the top 10 bantamweights. You know what I mean? Like that's not going to happen for like 20 more years, I feel like, or 10 more years or something like that. Like, we're a long ways away from, you know, weight classes being relatively equal in technical level, like boxing has now. And has had for a very, very long time, by the way. So yeah, that's enough about that, but I do want to talk about something. I'm scrolling through my YouTube feed right now, and I'm noticing a lot of upset people because of my latest video. And I'm not going to like drone on about it, but I think you guys have a very, very backwards interpretation of what I'm trying to do here on this platform. Any of you that followed me on Twitter understand what my mission is here, what my goal is here. First off, the goal is to create whatever content I fucking want, honestly. I'm never sitting here like, okay, what do I need to make that'll get views? I literally just watch MMA because I love the sport, and then I get inspired to make videos. So like the latest Jones video, I read a lot of stuff online. I went on Threads and I realized, hey, this is a topic that I actually like talking about. It's a theory that I've had for a while, and I feel like it's all coming to fruition, so that's a good video idea. And I feel like a lot of you hold me to this standard that you hold other YouTubers, that like I'm supposed to be like really professional and like just make my content and like not respond to people in the comment sections. And I understand that, because maybe that would be a good thing to do for a lot of YouTubers who are just trying to make like a professional business and like be really corporate and stuff like that, but that's not what my goal is. I'm always gonna reply to people, okay? For those of you that don't know, the background of my look at my opinion persona that I have for the internet started because I made a Twitter account with the same handle, because I wanted to debate sports without clogging up my personal timeline. Like, I had a personal Twitter, of course, with my real name and all that on there. And I would always get in sports debates, whether it's football or basketball or MMA. And I just wanted to have an anonymous platform to where I could really have an honest discussion, because it seems with sports, and especially MMA, considering there's like a toxic masculinity part of the community, it seems like people get really, really mad about MMA, right? Like they get like I get frustrated in debates. I think we all do, but it seems like people get really like genuinely angry. I've never been genuinely angry over an MMA debate. I've been frustrated, sure, but never like, dude, I fucking hate this guy. Like and I know people that talk to me are like that. So the anonymous platform allows me to have a debate that will never get personal. And that's what really irritates a lot of people, is that whenever you lose a debate or you start to lose a debate, one of the most common tactics is to get personal with someone, start throwing insults, start being a douchebag because you can't handle the topic that's going on. So you need to feel superior in some way, and that's the way to do it. And me being anonymous forces you to stay on the subject at hand. You have nothing to go off of except the debate. You have nothing else to say to me except for what I'm saying, because I'm just an online persona. And that's how I want every discussion to be. So basically, I said all that to let you know that I started Look at My Opinion as a debate account. That's what I did. I debated all the time. Ask anyone that was on Twitter whenever I was on the platform. That's all I did. People made memes about it, that I would go on 200 tweet threads of just constantly forcing people to stay on the subject at hand. Like, I'm not afraid to spam you with the same response if you keep calling me names. Like, I'd have people in debates like say like, you're a fucking idiot, and then like I just say the same response, the same question, like, oh, why do you think this guy has a certain style? Oh, fucking moron, quit talking to me. Then I'd reply, why do you think this guy has the same style? You see what I'm saying? I don't care. I don't give a fuck what anyone really thinks. Like, this is my platform. I'm going to do what I want with it. And what I want to do on the internet is get in MMA debates. I have a whole Discord for it now. That's what my YouTube channel is for, to give you my opinion and for you to comment down below and for me to reply to it. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. So if you think that I'm supposed to be some big time content creator who is, should be too good to reply to the YouTube trolls, it's not going to happen. I love talking to people who don't have coherent arguments because it's fun to embarrass them. It's fun. So yeah, the whole overall point of that rant is to let you know that if you ever expect me to stop replying to comments entirely, it's not going to happen. Now, obviously, I can't reply to every comment I get, like the Stipe Miocic and Francis fight, the first one, the video I made about it that's really popular. I don't reply to the comments on there because there's so fucking many of them that I just, like, it's too much. But if I have a video that's got like 5,000 views or something and I see a comment on it, it will actually show up in my feed for once. And I can actually respond to it. Like, that's what I love to do. I love to get on here and pick the brains of people and have debates. And that's what's beautiful about it, is that some people are ugly and some people are stupid and make terrible points and are just biased MMA fans. But then you come across people every now and then that are genuinely intelligent and genuinely have really good ideas. And like, I've learned a lot from YouTube comment sections. I know that sounds like the inverse because YouTube comment sections are like 99% filth and disgust, but I've actually learned things from people in YouTube comment sections because I reply to so many people. That's never changing. And if you want it to change, unsubscribe, because it's not happening. And now it's time to move on to the Discord question part of the podcast that I do every week. It's how I close off the podcast. And, it usually takes me a while, and it's my favorite thing to do. I love answering questions. So, join the Discord if you haven't already, and you can ask a question. We have a specific text channel for podcast questions. And, by the way, shout out to the mods who do a good job of cleaning that up and making sure it's only questions in there. But anyway, I realized how big of a piece of shit I am in terms of like putting out this podcast on the regular, and I haven't put out a podcast in a month now that I'm looking at my channel. So I apologize for that, and I'm going to pick up where I left off with the last questions I answered. Ryan Reynolds, I really hope that's the actual Ryan Reynolds. He says, who do you think will be champ at the end of the year for every division, men and women? I mean, that's just like, come on, man. Like, you're putting me on the spot. It's ridiculous. I'm going to go off the top of my head, and this is not like a detailed analysis that I really think this is just what I think. We'll start from the top. I think heavyweight, it's going to be Francis. Light heavyweight, probably going to be Blachowicz. Middleweight, Israel Adesanya. Welterweight, I don't see anyone beating Usman. So far, the title is not changing hands. In my opinion, and this is off the top of my head, I mean, like light heavyweight could change hands, I guess, but I don't think anyone's going to lose this year in those divisions. And then continuing lightweight, I think by the end of the year, Charles Oliveira should be the champion. I think that he will win it off Michael Chandler, and then, Conor and Dustin will stall in the meantime. But also, Conor and Dustin could fight in the summer, and then I don't know, I probably would favor Dustin over Oliveira in that case. So maybe Dustin, maybe even Conor, honestly. But I'm going to stick with Oliveira just off the top of my head. Featherweight, probably Volkanovski. I think he's going to beat Ortega, and I don't think Holloway's going to get a rematch like this year. But as soon as Holloway does get a rematch, he could lose his belt. Bantamweight, definitely Peter Yan. He's not. I don't see him losing. He out wrestled Aljamain Sterling. I mean, that's all you should have to say to someone. A guy who you knew had a decided striking advantage actually out wrestled Aljamain Sterling. Where it's supposed to be like he can't keep up there, and he was better than him there. So flyweight, I want to fanboy and say Brandon Moreno, but I don't know if I trust him to win the rematch with Figgy. So my final answer is probably going to be Figgy. And kind of generic. Most people are going to keep their belts this year, I feel like vast majority of people. Oh, you also asked for women. Sorry. I think that strawweight, I'm going to say Rose Namajunas. I'm a little biased there, but it's also I don't know who's going to win between her and Zhang. And if either one of them wins, I expect them to hold on to the belt. So I'm just going to say Rose because I want her to win, and I think that she has realistic routes to victory. Flyweight, that's just really easy. Shevchenko is obviously going to keep the flyweight belt, barring some incredible upset or some new contender rising through the ranks that just shits on everyone in a rapid pace. That division's in a state where a contender could come in and knock out 2 opponents in a row, and then they'd be like, okay, you're one fight away from a title shot. So maybe that'll happen, but I doubt it. Women's bantamweight, Amanda Nunes, because that division's not good. And then women's featherweight, which isn't a real division, definitely Amanda Nunes, since she's the only fighter in that division. So next question says, do you think Michael Pereira has a future in the UFC to go on and become a top contender? How do you think Colby versus Usman 2 plays out? That's 2 questions, but it's okay. First off, in regards to Pereira, I don't really think he's going to be a top contender. Personally, top contender, I assume, would mean top 3, right? He's top contender means he's really, really close to the title shot. Maybe top 5. I don't see him getting there. Insane athlete, by the way. Really fun to watch in a lot of aspects, and he's really tightened up his game to not be as much memes and more competitive. But I hadn't seen much out of him that's oh yeah, definitely future champ. There hasn't been a lot out of that, but I could definitely see him becoming top 10 with the right matchups. And it really just depends on how much he builds on his game from there. He could build on his game and become a top 5, top 3 fighter, but as of right now, I don't see it. And in regards to Colby versus Usman 2, I think that it will probably end up in a Usman win, just because I feel like Usman fought him in the most dangerous way he could and still knocked him out. So if he goes in there with an MMA focused game plan and not just a shitty kickboxing game plan, then I think that he would just handily beat him. He would win portions on the feet, be able to control the clinch, be able to maybe hit takedowns in the later rounds like RDA was able to, but I really doubt he's going to be able to like significantly control Colby early. But I think later in the fight he definitely can. And one thing about Usman is he had a committed body attack in that Colby fight, and the kicks made all the difference. So like combining all the elements together, I just think Usman's clearly a better fighter than Colby, which says a lot because Colby's a really, really good fighter. Rose Simp, something that I've been accused of being, asks, how do you think Moreno versus Figgy 2 plays out, assuming they're both at tip-top shape? Because apparently Figgy's tummy hurt last time. Yeah, I mean, look, you got delusional Figgy fans. I know a couple on Twitter that I used to like be really good friends with, and I'm sure we would be really good friends if I used Twitter, but we haven't spoken since I got suspended from Twitter. But like there's like several people I used to talk to on Twitter who just like believe Figgy's a god and that Moreno has no chance of winning, and that Moreno like clearly lost. Like I think that the first fight Moreno has the feeling as that he lost because he lost 3 rounds. I feel like he lost 3 rounds. So whenever you get to the end, you're like, okay, well, he lost the fight, right? But I mean, there was a point deduction. So I think it's a rightful draw. That being said, when it comes to the rematch, if both are in tip-top shape, as much as I fanboy Brandon Moreno, one of my favorite fighters, if not my favorite fighter. He probably is my favorite fighter, honestly. I don't see how I could pick him to beat Figgy whenever I saw Figgy like control most of their first fight. You know what I mean? Like I've seen that fight a lot. It's a fight of the year candidate. It's an amazing fight to rewatch. It's one of the best fights of the year. MMA YouTube made fun of me for saying that before the fight, and then everyone was like, "Oh, I guess it was good." And it was a great fight, and I've watched it a lot, and I wanted Moreno to win, and there were opportunities in the 5th round where he could have pushed forward and stole that from Figgy. He could have. In the final 2 or 3 minutes, they just kind of stared at each other, and I was just like, damn, dude. I know. And it's really easy for me to sit in my fucking computer chair and be like, push harder, Like, I could never fight a 25-minute fight at a grueling pace. I couldn't do that. I understand that. But as a Moreno fan, it was frustrating to see that. And I don't know if I trust him to beat Figgy. So I think that the rematch is going to be Figgy decision again. But I do think that Moreno's a live dog in that one, and he has a very good chance to win. Like, we think of Figgy as this Terminator assassin who hurts everyone, but the only person hurt in that fight at any point, like in a significant way, was Figgy. Moreno hurt him. Like, he actually did that to him, and that's really impressive. So I think that the rematch will probably be Figgy decision. As much as it sucks to say, I just feel like that's the most logical outcome of that fight. But you bet your fucking ass I'm going to be rooting for Moreno. Max the GOAT asks, is Kevin Lee the most inconsistent fighter in MMA? Like, I feel like he's just probably the most notable inconsistent fighter in MMA. Like, I tried to like think for a second of like other inconsistent fighters in MMA, like maybe Kelvin Gastelum, stuff like that. But I mean, like, Kevin Lee is one of those guys that was hyped up to shit because, like, I don't know if you remember, but like Kevin Lee, like in like 2015, 2016 and shit like that, like he was actually like, people were hyping that motherfucker up because, I mean, he's young as fuck. He had a dominant top game. I mean, he beat the dog shit at Edson Barboza, honestly worse than Khabib did. Like, he beat Edson Barboza worse than Khabib did from top position. So, I mean, even me watching that at the time, I was like, wow, this guy's like got a bright future. Fought for the interim title, lost to Tony Ferguson. So I think that he had incredibly high expectations from the start, kinda. And ever since then, he hasn't even gotten close to those expectations. So it makes people think that he's inconsistent. But he is inconsistent. I'm not trying to say he's not. I'm just saying that I don't know if he's the most inconsistent fighter in MMA. So to answer your question, I'm going to say no. But he might be. Who knows? The homie RT asks, how did Qatar lose to Holloway? He's the best boxer in MMA. See, look, this is obviously a joke because you guys watch YouTube videos, or not you guys, I say you guys, but I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you definitely probably don't fit in this demographic, but a lot of people on MMA YouTube, they watch videos that highlight people striking and stuff, and like, oh, look at Calvin Kattar, he fucking can throw a 1-2 punch really good. It looks really cool when he throws punch combinations, but they don't care about footwork, they don't care about defense, they don't care about body work, they don't care about any of that. They just, wow, that looks really pretty. And don't get me wrong, Calvin looks really beautiful when he fights. Like, it's just a lot of fun to watch. But like, as I said before that fight, such an easy pick, dude. Max Holloway's on a completely different level. Max Holloway's a better boxer than him. Calvin might have better mechanics, maybe, but it's nowhere near the terms of actual skill that Holloway has, and his MMA striking is not even fucking close. The next question is from Haji Usman, an OG of the server. He asked, opinions on the armbar defense shown at 2:30 of this video. This is a podcast, so I can't really show the video to the people listening, but I'm going to do this really quick for you, just in case you do listen, and I'm going to tell you what I think of this armbar defense. So I'm starting the video right now. He just slapped on the armbar. Okay, that looks really deep. Wow. Well, I mean, first viewing, I mean, incredibly acrobatic to bend his back like that. I'm going to rewind that, actually. Yeah, I mean, he is literally bending his back backwards. Kind of like crab walking and then hopping over. I mean, that's just, incredibly athletic armbar defense, I feel like. I don't think you would teach that to someone who isn't a good athlete. But I am not an instructor, so, take my advice with a grain of salt when it comes to actual mechanical techniques like that and different escapes. I obviously have a lot to learn. Next question says, is Conor's training his biggest weakness? It's difficult, in my opinion, to get better with John Kavanaugh, Roddy, and the boys at SBG. Fantastic point, by the way, and I completely agree. The simple fact that, Kavanaugh hasn't produced anywhere near the same kind of fighter that Conor McGregor is pretty much shows you that McGregor has a natural sense of fighting. Similar to Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley doesn't really train with any of the high level people, and but he has his own style, and he has a good natural understanding, good instincts, and picks up on things really well. And I think that applies to Conor McGregor. And yeah, I think that if Conor was at a really good camp, if Conor McGregor went to City Kickboxing or something, they would 100% make him a better fighter. And that's scary to think about because he's already a really good fighter. So, next question says, who are your favorite under the radar fighters that no one is talking about right now? Well, until recently, I'm going to say it's Barcelos. I mean, dude looks like Jose Aldo 2.0 with way better jiu-jitsu, offensive jiu-jitsu. I mean, the dude looks amazing. He looks top tier already, and we'll see how good he really is whenever he fights ranked competition. But everything he does technically just looks so fucking good. And I know that especially more hardcore MMA fans probably mention him because he's really good, but I feel like he is under the radar in terms of how good he is. Next question says, your favorite fighters in Pride. I think number one has to be Fedor. And it wasn't always that way, by the way. I didn't really give a fuck about Fedor whenever I first got into MMA because I was a UFC shill who just, who gives a fuck about the past. We're here now. We've got superstars like Chael Sonnen. It was 2012 whenever I believed all this. And I didn't care about Fedor. But as I got more involved with the sport and I went back and rewatched his career, I mean, he's just a great fighter all around in every aspect. And he is by far my favorite, staple Pride fighter. And then the final question I'm going to ask, because after this question, it goes to a new day of questions. And I feel like this is a really, logical stopping point. But the last question says, what do you think, or where do you think Kamaru Usman, Alexander Volkanovski, and Israel Adesanya will rank in the all-time great list when it's all said and done? Really, really good question. Kamaru Usman, he has a really, really good chance at being top 5 just from resume alone. tremendous athlete who gets better with every fight. And if like his striking keeps improving, then I mean, I don't know what people are going to do. I don't know what the welterweight division is going to do. He has the best chance out of all three of those people to literally achieve top 5 all-time great status. I feel like next would be Alexander Volkanovski, because before the Blachowicz fight, I would have told you Israel Adesanya because I thought Israel would beat Blachowicz, and I was wrong about that. And Israel winning the Blachowicz fight would make him a double champ. And then, he might have the Jones fight. If he wins that, then, he would have the best chance of achieving like a top 5 spot in the all-time great list. But I think that Blachowicz beating him shuts that down for now. Adesanya's going to have to level up some more and, really do more work. And it's not going perfectly to plan as he thought it would. But Alexander Volkanovski, the fact that he can hang with Max Holloway like that, I don't know if anyone else can really hang with those two. And if Alexander Volkanovski always just edges out a decision against Max Holloway, then he has a really, really good chance of being top 5, top 10 all-time great when it's all said and done. So yeah, Usman first, Volkanovski second, and then Israel Adesanya. I can't really rank where they'll be, but I can tell you like which one of them I feel like has the best chance of achieving all-time great status. And that's it, fellas. Thank you so much for listening to this. I apologize for being a piece of shit and rarely releasing the episodes. I'm going to try to do better on that. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys for listening and have a good day.